Your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Starting to feel a little more like summer with that warmth, and it's going to get even warmer tomorrow and through the rest of the week. Now, tonight we actually had a few little sprinkles move through the area, a lot of those pushing to the south now. But as we jump into your day tomorrow, we're back up into the upper 80s for highs. We're still into the 70s in a few spots, including Springfield, but look out tomorrow, some of the warmest air of the year as we inch close to that 90-degree mark. We'll talk about thunderstorms also in the forecast for this week when we come back. WCI3 News starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 10.
All across central Illinois today, people marched in peaceful protest, a stark difference from 24 hours earlier. Good evening, I'm Jessica Coons. Protesters took to the streets in Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, and Urbana. We'll have team coverage on those protests, but first, we want to bring you a developing story from Sangamon County. Officials there are investigating tonight after a body was found in a pond in Rochester. Rescue crews were called to the pond off of Minder Road after 5:30 tonight. Officials say the caller and an 18-year-old had been fishing. They say the teenage victim was trying to swim across the pond when an accident happened. The name of that victim has not been released. We'll keep you updated. Now back to the protests. About 1,000 people marched through Champaign-Urbana peacefully today, inspired to speak up after the killing of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis. WCIA3's Paul Cicchini is live in Champaign tonight. Paul, you followed that crowd as it moved today.
Yeah, I did, Jessica. That's right. And before I get into that, I want to point something out behind us right now. The Champaign police are out in unmarked vehicles. If you take a look at that white SUV behind us, I think it's a Ford Explorer. And then they positioned that navy blue van kind of obstructing whatever's going on so that our camera couldn't see beyond it. But there are some, they're not plainclothes officers, so to speak. They have vests on identifying them as police. And you can see there's some individuals that just walked up antagonizing the police officers who, again, we're unclear exactly what's going on. But we do want to say that the police are out tonight. We did see that the Champaign police SWAT vehicle, which if anybody was watching yesterday, the SWAT vehicle that was out on Prospect with the protesters, looters, rioters, whatever you wanted to call them, that is out driving through Campus Town. But Jess, you alluded to many of the people marching. They probably didn't even realize it at the time. But an independent medical examiner and the Hennepin County coroner both determined that George Floyd was, in fact, killed. His death was a homicide, and that was one of the reasons they were marching. They were also marching in protest of what they called the police brutality against Aaliyah Lewis, who they say was used excessive force in her arrest back in April. Take a look.
I want reform. I want policy change. I want people to be held accountable, right? They need, they see it the same way that we see it. If you're not condemning it, then you're condoning it.
That was part of the message being sent Monday as roughly 1,000 peaceful protesters marched through Champaign and Urbana.
We're mobilizing like this. This is amazing. And then I think it's also going to need to be some online actions. We need people who are not here right now to also participate. So I think there's lots of roles for everybody who's at home to help out.
It was a message of solidarity 24 hours after break-ins and rioting in Champaign.
There was looting across the states and across the cities. I guess one of the number one things that we can do is to start rebuilding our communities. You know, there's a lot of anger that was in the youth. I understand the anger. Again, we don't want to condone the looting and violence, but again, we have to listen to that anger. That anger is not exaggerated. The anger of the youth is real.
Haki Shabazz says the community has to make sure the anger is redirected and used for good. Maurice Hayes agrees, and for him, that's making sure the community remains engaged.
That we hold these people accountable, we hold the mayor accountable, we hold the chief of police accountable, and the police department in itself, we hold them accountable for all the things that are taking place with black and brown people.
All right. Now, of course, everyone here and most people across the country have been at home because of the COVID-19 pandemic, cooped up, of course, ready to get out of their house. And those protesters today said it's all about keeping that momentum moving. I want to redirect you, though, to behind me again. In the minute that it took that package to roll, we saw 2 police cruisers. These are obviously marked police cruisers from Champaign Police, arrived obviously now to back up in support of the officers who were already on scene in plain clothes. And coming around the corner now at Green and First, where we are in Campustown, is a 3rd police cruiser on scene now to assist, because again, that blue van was moved to obstruct our camera view, so we'll try to move as soon as we toss it back to the studio here now. A 4th Champaign Police SUV is on scene here. This situation is clearly devolving, so we're going to try to get a better look, but for now, Jess, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Paul, keep an eye on that. We will go back to you when we can. Thanks so much. You just heard today's protesters talking about police chiefs and mayors being held accountable. They were at the protest in Champaign-Urbana today. Police chiefs and mayors from both cities. WCIA3's Jennifer Jensen shares what some of them had to say after the peaceful protest.
People have a right to protest. They have a First Amendment right.
Champaign Police Chief Anthony Cobb took part in that, walking alongside hundreds of protesters through the streets of Urbana.
Their voices do matter, and so that's why I was here. That's what it symbolized, me taking a knee, saying, yes, I'm willing to take time, I'm willing to take a knee, and I want to hear you.
From beginning to end, he chanted in support, kneeled in solidarity, and stood up for the Black Lives Matter cause.
I can't breathe! No justice, no peace!
This peaceful protest was a stark contrast to the violence that happened in Champaign the night before.
We don't want to experience that again. The looting, the riots that we saw, the unrest, our community does not want that.
Chief Cobb says he, along with other city leaders, want to show they care and are willing to work to make the community stronger.
We're not perfect. Our system is not perfect, and we get it, and we know this is our next generation. If you looked at this crowd that just left here, it was a bunch of young people. They're passionate, and they want to see some changes. We want to hear what those changes are.
What are you looking to do moving forward in light of what has happened in the past 2 days?
Well, it's clear that we need to have a local conversation about national issues. We continue to strive to be better here in our community.
Chief Cobb says he wants to reassure people that they are working to progress a higher standard when it comes to the officers in his police department.
We've been working hard for years now through unconditional respect. We want our officers to always see the worth of all citizens. We want to treat anyone as if they were my child. I want to treat them as if they were my mom.
Reporting, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA3, your local news leader.
We continue our coverage of today's protest. People also calling for change in Decatur. Hundreds marched together through downtown after listening to speeches. WCIA3's Jen Lask was there and joins us live from Decatur tonight. So, Jen, what did leaders there have to say to protesters?
Well, Jessica, this was part of a series of marches that had been scheduled, and this march had actually been planned a few weeks ago in the wake of the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, but in the wake of George Floyd's death, they say that this has grown so much bigger. Now, they are urging people to register to vote if they haven't done so already, and they are also reminding them to speak up at city council meetings because those meetings determine the resources in place for the community. And by the way, Mayor Julie Moore-Wolf was here at the protest today. Multiple people here spoke at both the beginning and the end of the protest, with a march through downtown Decatur in between. Organizers called the atmosphere electric, with hundreds of people chanting for change.
All of these people were here from this community. They want change in their community, and they're ready to stand united, young, old, black, white, and fight for what they want.
And activists are emphasizing that change continues with the next generations, and they're asking people who came out here today, they ask them to sign up, put their contact information down so that they can make sure to stay involved with the process as it moves forward. Live in Decatur, Jen Lask, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, Jen, thank you for that report. Now to Springfield, where more than 1,000 demonstrators marched and rallied at the State House steps. They demanded justice for the death of George Floyd and for an end to police brutality. Our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell is live in the capital city tonight. Mark, the organizers there instructed those demonstrators to keep it peaceful.
And Jessica, their numbers may have dwindled, but their passion persists. The energy that started midday spilling over late into these evening hours with protests still continuing behind me. The voices who took this stage gave impassioned pleas, at times moving, at times full of anguish and rage. Many speakers sounding exhausted of a seemingly endless string of injustices committed at the hands of police. At times, they were tempted, in their own words, to commit violence or vandalism, but were restrained by their own hope for a better tomorrow. This platform providing a place to grieve, vent, and demand change of a system they feel too often locks up people of color for nonviolent offenses.
Speak up for us, you know, out like the people now, be out here with us. It's all about educating. There has to be some type of sympathy, like empathy, you know. I feel like also with the police, they're going to need some trauma training. They're going to need culture training. They're just going to have to revamp the whole system.
Those are the words of a teacher from Springfield whose job it is to instruct the next generation as they come up. But she hopes this is a teaching moment not only for children, but for us all, to exercise this act of empathy, to listen to our neighbors. And the demonstrators here hope that their march doesn't end tonight, but that they continue that momentum all the way through to the ballot box in November, where they'll have a chance, they hope, to elect leaders more sensitive to their message, more likely to take action on their words. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. The governor signed a disaster proclamation for several counties today. 3 of those are in central Illinois. Champaign, Macon, and Sangamon counties all made the list. That proclamation lets those counties get state resources to keep people safe. 250 additional members of the Illinois National Guard were also activated. Paul Cicchini continues to follow a developing situation in Champaign. We'll be right back with more on that.